Sorry fans, but the Marvel's Avengers game character designs are not going to change. When Square Enix and Crystal Dynamics announced an Avengers game back in 2017, fans were champing at the bit for the chance to take the reins of Earth's mightiest heroes, especially in the form of a AAA video game. And though details were scarce, expectations were high that this was in fact the Avengers game to end all Avengers games. So finally, 2 years later, when they got their first look at Marvel's Avengers in the form of a trailer at 2019's E3, fans were a bit confused. Reactions to the character designs were all over the map. On the one hand, yes, it looked like you would be able to fly around as Iron Man or smash things as the Hulk. But on the other hand, who are these people and what did they do with the Avengers? Criticisms on the superhero looks range from uncanny valley facial expressions to costume choices. Like, what's up with Captain America's bulky costume? Why does Bruce Banner look like a weird doppelganger of Mark Ruffalo? And what's up with Thor's beard? Also, what kind of hair conditioner is Tony using? But the ultimate question seemed to be, are these heroes from the Marvel Cinematic Universe or the comics? Because they feel like a weird mix of both while at the same time getting neither just right. While we now know that this game is set in its own universe, the trailer left most fans scratching their heads as to what happened, especially since it was coming from a pretty respectable studio. Luckily, several outfits, pun intended, got a chance to speak to the folks behind the game about the designs and whether or not we can expect the fan outrage to lead to some significant changes, a la the Sonic the Hedgehog movie. Spoiler warning, we've got some bad news for you.
Damn it, they played us.
To start things off, Crystal Dynamics creative director Sean Eskai laid things out very plainly by telling IGN, "We are always listening to and welcome feedback from our community. There are currently no plans to change our character designs." This seems like a pretty definitive statement, so if you were planning on starting a petition to change the game, maybe stop. It didn't work for The Last Jedi remake, it's not working for Game of Thrones Season 8, and it's not going to work for this. However, we did get some info about why they made these design choices for the game, and it turns out there is a method to the madness. In an interview with The Hollywood Reporter, Eskai said, "We knew we wanted to make an original Avengers game and go back to the roots in the comic books. Reportedly, there was no thought of using the MCU versions of the characters." Eskai later added, "We wanted to clearly show that this was our spin on the Avengers. Even the way we cast these characters was based on our story and our narrative." Vince Napoli, the lead combat director at Crystal Dynamics, further expounded on this. "When you see what the movies do, that's one interpretation of these characters. Here's ours of something similar, and we're going to look at that as reference and things we didn't like about that or things that will work better for us." Napoli goes on to say, "It's creating a new Marvel universe. We were creating a brand new thing in collaboration with Marvel, so it really did demand our own characters," which sounds an awful lot to us like the birth of the Marvel video game universe, something Marvel fans are now starting to clamor for, especially since the release of Sony's Spider-Man game from last year. Ultimately, Crystal Dynamics has been aware of the gravitas of their situation from the beginning, saying, "We're excited to hear what our fans think. You've got millions of fans around the world who have been waiting years for it, and if you do it wrong, you feel the burden." What are you talking about? When has a character's costume change ever made fans angry? Most of those are from the 90s. While Crystal Dynamics won't be changing the designs to cater to outspoken fans on social media, Eskai did admit this to IGN. The trailer is showing pre-alpha gameplay footage, which means the level of detail and overall polish of the character models will absolutely continue to improve as we get closer to launch. So, not all hope is lost. Things are only going to improve from here. Plus, as we've said before, maybe we've just got to get used to these new designs, which should be no problem for fans of the comics. And now that the Band-Aid has been ripped off with these new Avengers, we can learn to enjoy them. But what do you folks think? Are you still excited for Marvel's Avengers? Which game won E3 for you? And seriously, we have to ask again, what conditioner does Tony Stark use? We gotta know! Let's discuss. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, and mash that little bell to get notified every time we drop a video or go live with a show. And did you know that Men in Black International is out today? Well, we sent our most intrepid reporter to get the scoop on the star's knowledge of pop culture aliens, including Mac from Mac and Me. Tune in to Nerdist News Edition to see how they fared.